Hello, America. Welcome to Culture Club USA. I'm DiBRAVA. And today's riddle is, Silly Sally sat on the vine without checking for thorns. Then she ran to the street without listening for horns. Then Silly Sally went to school where her brain was no resident, where the teacher then told her that she would be president. Okay, in today's episode of The Civil Circus, we will take a dive with Patrick Bet-David into Kamala Harris's sit-down interview on 60 Minutes. Sounds like a disaster. You ready? Let's dive in.
Not let her get away with anything. He followed up with the questions back to back to back. I'm going to show a clip. I think we're going to go through 3 of them. One of them has to do about immigration. One of them has to do when he asks if you own a gun. And you should see her face when he asks the follow-up question, have you ever used it? I mean, you have to see the way she answers the question. And there's a couple other ones that she gets very uncomfortable.
Wow. Okay, first of all, I haven't seen this. He asks Kamala Harris, this is 60 Minutes now. Let me just clarify. 60 Minutes is not to be played with.
He followed up with the questions back to back to back. I'm going to show a clip. I think we're going to go through 3 of them. One of them has to do about immigration. One of them has to do when he asks if you own a gun. And you should see her face when he asks the follow-up question, have you ever used it? I mean, you have to see the way she answers the question.
Well, now, I can't wait to see that. Okay, I haven't seen this yet. This is going to be interesting because Kamala was asked if she'd ever used the gun. Because, you know, Kamala's all about guns now. She's a gun owner. Her and Tim Walz are gun owners. Yeah, okay, right. As of when? Last week? All right, just saying. Okay, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
And there's a couple other ones that she gets very uncomfortable, but he does a phenomenal job in this interview. And I have my own reasons why I believe he is pushing as hard as he is, but we'll have here plenty of commentary. So let's get right into it, Rob. Which one do you want to start off with first?
Would you like the child tax credit, the border issue?
Let's start off with the border first. Go
and this is Bill Whitaker, by the way.
This is Bill Whitaker from
Philly.
60 Minutes. Go
Rob's stomping ground.
The border for years.
Watch this expression.
And so I know this is not a problem that started with your administration.
Correct.
But there was an historic flood of undocumented immigrants coming across the border the first 3 years of your administration. As a matter of fact, arrivals quadrupled from the last year of President Trump. Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem, and solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally,
Angry.
we have been offering solutions.
But what I was asking,
What was the solution that she was offering from day one? The catch and release that they signed? Is this a joke? Okay, enough said about that. We're going to let her dig her own hole because clearly she's about to. The thing is that take a look at the level of interview that we're reviewing here. Look at the camera work, okay? Look at the suit he's wearing. This is not Call Her Daddy, and this is not The View, okay? This ain't Whoopi Goldberg, all right? And this is 60 Minutes. They're trying to hang on to their reputations, okay? Because, you know, they've been called out too, okay? Now, journalism is something of the past as far as I'm concerned. So these people are trying to hang on to their reputations. This is very interesting. Just the body language, just her. I mean, usually, where's the cackling Kamala? Oh, well, you know, people coming over the border. Let me tell you, what happened to the guy this? We're not looking at that, are we? All right. I digress.
President Trump, was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem, and solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally,
Angry.
we have been offering solutions.
But what I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem. Okay.
But the numbers did quadruple.
And the
under
numbers
your
today,
watch.
because of what we have done, we have cut
Bless you.
the flow of illegal immigration by half.
But should you
We
have
have
done
cut
that?
the
Should you
flow
have
of
done that?
fentanyl by half. But we need Congress to be able to act to actually fix the problem.
Tom, how do you process this with her being pushed?
Wow. Okay, this is intense. And first of all, let me just say this too. Now they're actually they're in trouble because they heavily edited this interview, and they're getting a lot of criticism for it. Okay, I just want to make that clear. But wow, this is pretty intense. You know, it's rare. I don't think I've ever seen Kamala act this way. I mean, she wasn't even acting this serious during the presidential debate with her and President Trump. Interesting. Let's see what Patrick but David has to say here.
Tom, how do you process this with her being pushed?
Well, I think the media has been taking a lot of heat. There were 2 debates where the media took heat. I mean, let's face it. We don't need to go into detail, but the president debate, the VP debate, the media has taken heat for being a lapdog of the left. And what you have here is 60 Minutes. And Bill Whitaker, if you know Bill Whitaker's history, he's a straight up guy. You know, he's got his slant left, but he's been a straight up interviewer. And that's typically the history of the 60 Minute staff. And what I see here is there's a lot of cuts in here and there's a lot of edits, but he is trying to get her to answer the question for the American people. And I applaud what he did. And when you look at her reaction, she's angry. You could tell that was anger and that was reaction coming out there. And she's trying to do what all politicians do that she's not very unique at, but trying to, well, we need, and we need Congress. And so when you get the hands waving and the restarting of sentences and bringing in third topics, which is what she was doing, you know, she's got no answer. So I gave her a screaming F on that. And he's trying to follow up and get her to answer the question. That's how I process this. And I was shocked that it was allowed to go out on broadcast like this. I would have thought that CBS would have stepped on it, suppressed it, or spun it differently. But I actually, you know, was favorably impressed with Bill Whitaker.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Wow, you know, that was really well said. The way he just put that, seriously, because think about it. She's really on the defense. Even her body language is defensive. Everything about it when she starts with this and blaming everyone else. And imagine this, okay? This is very interesting because if she can't even deal with a 60 Minutes interview, because she's never really been challenged, really. I mean, the debates, they were all on her side. She had the questions, apparently, you know, allegedly. How are you going to deal with world leaders? How are you going to sit across from Putin? How are you going to sit across from, you know, the North Korea? And like, how? They're going to run all over her. Like, you can't even handle yourself in a 60 Minutes interview. She should be running through this with flying colors. Okay? If you're trying to say that you can handle Putin and all these other people, think about it. How are you even going to sit with your own staff? Very interesting. Let's see what the next one has to say.
Yeah, I was impressed too. And you know, I don't think, Tom, that she got the questions beforehand. That looks like a genuine upset. Like, how dare you question me when you know that I failed so bad? I think that it's, I don't want to say day late, dollar short, but we've had 4 years and now it's like everything is falling apart. You know what I mean? The wheels are off and then now they're starting to come around. But it's a good question, Pat. Why are they letting this air so late? Why would they let her get exposed like this so late?
It's actually not late because there's still 3.5 weeks left. So trust me, the news cycle right now, by tomorrow, but not by tomorrow, by Thursday, you forgot about this. It's done. Everything right now is jab, 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 jab,
Done.
jab. And you
Next round.
just have to survive these jabs. Now, this is a good hook. You got caught.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a joke. By the way, go play the next clip, Rob, about flipping positions.
Interesting what he's saying. He's right. It isn't late. It isn't late. It's just beginning. For real. Right now, everybody's starting to get serious about the election, right? We're just under 4 weeks out here. Seriousness is happening.
Go play the clip about flipping positions where, do you have that one or no? Where she's kind of like, is this the one?
It is.
Go ahead and play the clip. Watch this.
Tell you what your
This is probably the
critics
best
and
one.
the columnists
Hands down.
say.
Watch this.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't
Now, this is funny. See, she's smiling right here because, you know, even just this right here, what we're looking at right here, it just proves that she's been handed everything. Every single thing has been handed to her and laid out. Get it? All she really has to do is kind of memorize a little bit. And that's what she thinks is coming. She's like, oh, okay, the hard blow is over. Okay, now we're good. Let me smile. Where's this going to go? Okay, let me bring it back.
But your
This is probably the
critics
best
and
one.
the columnists
Hands down.
say.
Watch this.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the
Wait a second. Before she answers, I want you to pay very close attention to her face. Look at the body language. Okay, this is the start of the question, right? He's asking the question. She's smiling. Okay, look. It goes from this. Look at this. It's slowly, look at her face. She's like, how dare you? How dare you? Look, the breath in, the sitting, look at it. She is like, and then look, the opening of the mouth. It's her taking a breath, blinking. Okay, this is body language here. She is extremely uncomfortable. Let's bring it back. This is too good. This is too good.
And so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States, and I have been traveling our country, and I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing, as long as you don't compromise your values.
What the heck is she talking about? She's not answering the questions. She's just buying time, praying that he lets her get away with this. Why do I have a feeling that he's not? Wow, this is crazy.
Compromise your values to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
Tom.
That's weak. That's like she's running for mayor. I hear mayor and governor candidates that do a better job of spinning back to, we all know what the problem is. We got to get to consensus and serve the people. Meanwhile, the people are saying, well, wait. Let's get back to the question. Tell me what you're going to do about that, because I'm very interested in it. That was weak. That was.
Adam, what do you think?
Well, he asked her, he said people are confused. You were for fracking. You were against fracking. Now you're for fracking. You're this, you're that. She didn't answer any of the questions. You would say, well, it's kind of like when they asked J.D. Vance in the debate a question. You said this about Donald Trump. You said he was Hitler, right? He said, I did. And you know what? Things were taken out of context, blah, 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 blah. And he actually answered as to why at the time he made that comment. She's just like trying to slide and skate out of the question without ever having to answer. Very interesting.
See mayor candidates do a better job spinning back.
So she can run and hide all she wants from the border, but the Biden-Harris administration has to own that problem. I mean, just if you look at the stats. I mean, whatever number you come up with is very believable. 10 million, 15 million, 20, whatever the number is, it's kind of like just, well, come on in. But we hear...
And he's a leftist. If he's saying it, they're in trouble. Okay. This border thing is a real big problem. Okay, it's a real big problem for her, okay? I'm just saying.
But we hear the term, oh, he's a puppet, she's a puppet. Oh, they're not really the ones running the government. They're a puppet. Well, this is a living, breathing example of an actual puppet. She didn't earn this nomination. If Biden was able to walk upstairs and formulate sentences, he would still be the nominee. She was coronated to basically... usurp Biden, and he reluctantly sort of exited stage left after Nancy Pelosi told him that he was ruining the down ballot ticket after the Obamas of the world.
Adam, what do you think about what she said here?
Or or he was threatened. I mean, let's think about this. Okay, yeah, whatever he's saying, right? Let's think about this. You got Hunter in trouble. He's in court. You got all kinds of things going on, okay? Hunter is erratic. Who knows? He'd throw his own father under the bus. I mean, some kind of deal. We'd have to be idiots not to think, at least, or to assume that some kind of deal was proposed here, okay, in order for Jill Biden, this is my belief, to allow Joe to step down and hand over the nominee that he was already given to Kamala Harris. Okay, nobody just hands over that kind of power. Nobody. You understand? Get my point? Yeah.
What she said here.
Well, what I'm saying is that she's not saying anything. She doesn't have policy perspective. She doesn't have anything tangible to run on. She's just repeating talking points. And if you saw over the weekend, her teleprompter went out.
Yeah.
And she froze. She's like, oh,
32,
no.
32.
What
You
do I do now?
You saw the life come out of her eyes because she's like, I don't know how to do.
She can't avoid
Watch
the
this.
economy. She
Play
can't
this
avoid
clip.
inflation. And she can't avoid not knowing what she's talking about. Go ahead.
Number 32. Today we got 32 days until the election.
Oh God. Ready?
And the
Ready?
teleprompter goes
Ready?
out now. 32, man.
32 days.
32 days.
Jeopardy song.
Okay, we got some business to do.
Oh, she's going.
All right.
Hip hop.
32 days.
You don't have the ability to tell
And
a
we
story.
know
No. Just tell
we
a story.
will do it.
We will do it.
With the sheep around her. So many sheep.
And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end. This is going to be a very tight race
that is
until the very end. We are the
Because
underdogs.
you can pause it right there. What
Actually, you know what's funny about this? Look who's behind her. Labor union. Labor union. See, this is what the Trump campaign is overlooking. Okay? The unions. The unions. Okay? She's there because the unions said so. You'll see. I'm right, trust me.
What happens when you're in a conversation with a world leader and the conversation goes in a direction you did not expect? What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to give you questions in advance when you're meeting with Xi?
Nope.
You think they're going to give you questions in advance when you meet with, a Putin, or if you choose to meet with Putin or any of these guys? No, you're not. So then the question becomes, either the people that say you're just a puppet are right, or you're just not qualified for the job. Rob, play the clip about, which one is this? Is this the Glock?
Well, we know she's not qualified for the job. That goes without saying. She's not really qualified for any job except climbing her way to the top. Okay, and we can all assume how she did that. Okay, aside from the powerful family that she was born into, not the one she's pretending to have come from. Okay.
No, this is the Glock, though. This clip.
Play the Glock clip. Watch this. This is funny.
You recently surprised people when you said that you are a gun owner. And then if someone came into your
That was
house,
not the first time I've
They would get
talked
shot.
about it. That's not the first time I've talked about it.
so what kind of gun do you own, and when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time. And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement.
I have a Glock. Look at her body language, guys. I'm going to bring it back, but look at her body language. He's asking this question. Here we go. Look, here she is. Look, already sitting up straight, just leaning, trying to, look at this. All this movement, motion. Yeah, because you're an idiot. I guarantee you she doesn't know how to use a gun. You never thought of that, huh? Never thought of that.
And when and why did you get it?
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time. And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement. And
that's right.
so there you go.
Have you ever fired it?
Yes. Of course I have.
In my apartment.
At a shooting range.
Oh, okay.
Yes, of course I have.
By the way, you know when somebody asks you have a gun, it's kind of like this. Ask me, you have a car.
Yeah.
Ask me.
You have a car?
I do.
Okay, what kind is it?
I have a Ford.
Okay, what kind of Ford, though? What,
No, but I have a Ford.
I understand that.
No, actually, hold on. It's even better. I'm going to put it even better for you. What kind of car do you have? I have a sedan. That's what she's doing.
But what kind of
Do you ever
Ford?
drive your Ford?
Is it a Mustang? Is
Of
it?
course I drive my Ford.
At a shooting range? You drove your Ford at a shooting range?
I drive my Ford in a freeway like everybody else.
yeah.
By the way, that is the.
Well, we're in Dallas, sir. Were you on
Who
the
the hell says I have a Glock?
Yeah.
So hold on. Do you think she's lying about having a gun?
I don't
because I don't think this serves her constituency. It's not like the single cat ladies are like.
Do you believe she? You think?
I don't believe whatever you're about to say.
No.
The answer is no.
But do you?
I don't believe her.
Do you believe she owns a Glock?
I don't think that's something you just make up. You think that is?
I don't.
Glock is, by the way, if you go back and you think about guns from hip hop, rap, you'll hear Glock.
She grew up with Tupac.
Right. So, do you believe she owns a gun?
Absolutely not. And guess this is how easy the world is, guys. Show me a photo of you holding a gun. That's all you have to do. Just show me. No, I don't believe. Okay,
so
I would have been like me and you. We have guns. I was like, yo, Glock 9mm. I have the.
There she is, bro. That's a believable photo. Hello.
Oh, so she does.
Now that is funny. Boy, AI is amazing, right? AI is amazing. They're right. Actually, where's the photos? Where's you and your gun? Now, here's what I believe, okay? I believe she does have a Glock because they gave it to her. Get it? They gave her a Glock. They took her to the shooting range, showed her how to shoot it a few times so that she armed and disarmed and did whatever, right? Okay? But she didn't study it enough. They didn't do enough of the legwork on it. They didn't get pictures taken and make them look older than they are and this and that. Get it? Now, that's what I think. This is Hollywood we're looking at. This is a Hollywood show. It's called entertainment.
That's it. Let's move on.
Guys,
let's move on.
Why would this would this be a talking point she wants to endorse?
What she's trying to do, here's what she's trying to do. She used to be not for fracking. Now she is. She used to be about taking your guns if necessary. Now she owns a Glock and she shoots it all the time at a range, apparently. She used to be against, she used to be for high taxes. Now she's all about entrepreneurs. And she says, I'm a capitalist. She said that yesterday on 60 Minutes. Yeah. I'm a true capitalist. Listen, it's not a good look. Nobody believes you. No one believes you.
Can I say one thing, though, Pat?
Yeah, go
No, that's he's spot on. Nobody believes her, okay? What she's doing is she knows that she's weak in certain points, like, for instance, the male vote, okay? You ain't got enough men. So what is she about now? Fracking and guns, okay? Things that she's been totally against for decades. I mean, really? No one believes her. He is 100% spot on. No one believes her.
Can I say one thing, though, Pat?
Yeah,
the scary thing, I don't want to say sad. The scary thing is people are believing her. And that's how she is right now leading in the national polls. And that's what's insane.
Who? The people, here's a question.
Yeah.
The people that matter, do they believe her? I'm talking about the people that are going to matter in the election. Like right now, if you go to vtnews.ai,
Yep.
Rob, if you just go to VT News, click on the homepage. Okay, this is the homepage. If you go on vtnews.ai and you can go to the bottom right, okay, and click on the election in the US, click on that and go to it, zoom out right here. Okay, as of right now, this is right now, the national poll shows she's ahead by 1.4. Okay, but if you go to Arizona, click on Arizona. It tells you
not good.
Trump's up. Look at all those places Trump's up. These are many different polls. Tom, you want to break this down for everybody and go one by one?
Yeah, what we do, VT Analytics, we pull together polling data. We look at the background. We want polls that are recent from pollsters, liberal pollsters, conservative pollsters, but we want the ones that have shown themselves to be more accurate in the 2020 election and the 2022 midterm election. So we pull those most recent. We put the dates up, the margin of error, all the data up there. And right now, Arizona, 2.7 for Trump on the most recent polls. That's what we see. You go to Georgia, it's going to be much tighter, Rob. And Rob can just step through these battleground sets. Georgia is dead tied, at least according to the current polls. Michigan, as you would expect, out there ruled Trump.
Do you guys believe these polls? Do you believe these polls? I just don't believe these polls. A lot of this, I think, is nonsense. And that's just my opinion. There are people that, are hell-bent on polls. Okay? I just don't buy it. Send me some links in the chat if you know about polls, okay? I just want to know where these numbers come from. Thin air, Hollywood? I mean, where?
We're anxious to see the new polls coming out of Pennsylvania after the big rally. But we're putting them all up there.
Go to Wisconsin. Go to Wisconsin to see what that looks like. And in Wisconsin is going Harris. And even we believe that as well.
Pat, was Pennsylvania normally Democratic?
Pennsylvania,
swing
by the way, thank you for asking that. That's not a planted question. I'll give you the answer. Pennsylvania is increasingly becoming purple. If you look at the last 3 elections and you look at central Pennsylvania and the suburbs that are around Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, there is more Hispanic and black vote heading conservative. And so Pennsylvania has been becoming purple. And people are saying right now that it is light purple. It is not the blue stronghold that it was for 5 elections prior to 2016.
Now that's why what he just said. Okay. Now again, I'm not about polls. Okay. Whatever. But what he's saying right now is why she's doing what she's doing. She's for fracking now. She is a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun owner. Get it? There's too many states that are reading internal polls. This is the polls that they're getting internally, to me, are a little bit different than these polls. The internal polls are telling her you got problems. Okay. And you got problems with the male vote. So you better get on your gun stance and you better get on your fracking, okay? Because those are male issues. Those are male things. I don't understand how this woman has been the vice president for 4 years under literally one of the worst administrations of all time, okay? The country is in the worst, most dire place it's been in decades. We're in how many wars? We're heading into a recession, possibly. I mean, there's nothing is good. Nothing good has come out of it. Crime is through the roof. No one can afford anything. Immigrants are just flooding the place. I mean, what good has come out of this administration? How could any state be that close between her and Donald Trump? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, can I give you just a little perspective? You said earlier, well, it seems like she's pulling ahead, or, it seems like it's breaking through. It's actually not. I always follow the Vegas polls. For the first time in almost 2 months, Trump has finally pulled ahead of Kamala in terms of Vegas. I'm not sure what this one is, but it's been neck and neck this entire time, but he's basically inching a little bit higher. Now, you've seen how Kamala, Rob, I sent you this on Wall Street Journal. How Kamala's like, I went working class family. Yeah. I was born in the working class. Well, in a ironic twist, the #1 story in the Wall Street Journal right now is Kamala Harris struggling to break through with the working class. And her inner circle is basically saying, we need to do better. Crucial states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, which we just discussed, basically it's not coalescing how they basically wanted her to do this.
Or historically,
exactly. So, I don't know. Is this her ceiling is my question. After the 60 minutes, essentially a debacle, has she peaked? We'll find out.
Well, there's a lot of discussion on the strategy that they're putting in place.
Well, first of all, what he was saying is she's hurting with the middle class. And he's right. Middle class. Fracking, guns. Like, hello. Okay, middle America. This is a serious issue here. And to boot, it's like, look at what's going on. Where's the government in North Carolina? I don't understand at all how North Carolina, especially after this storm and the response, no response basically from the Biden administration, which let's be real here. Have we forgotten that we are looking at the current vice president here? Okay. It's not even that we could sit here and say she wasn't vetted, which she wasn't, but was she? Because you've been the VP for 4 years. You've pretty much shown what you could and would do for 4 years, which has been nothing.
Peaked. We'll find out.
Well, there's a lot of discussion on the strategy that they're putting in place. Why is she going? She is not speaking to her own people this week. She is bouncing around on comedy podcasts. They are looking for other groups of voters at the edge. And I happen to think on one hand, I kind of laugh at the strategy that I see that's putting forth this week. But on the other hand, because I'm like, why would you go on that podcast? My gosh, why don't you go on a podcast that talks about substance and at least gives people from the middle an opportunity to talk? Instead, you go on Call Her Daddy.
You're questioning why she would do that?
Well, she's doing that trying to get to different groups of voters.
Is this her asking why?
No, she's going on Call Her Daddy because that's where she belongs. Okay? Talking amongst prostitutes. It's where she belongs. That's where she feels comfortable. I slept my way to the top. Call Willie Brown. I mean, seriously. Okay? unserious people in serious jobs. This is what you get. A VP that is running around on prostitution OnlyFans sex podcasts. Because you can't answer any real questions. Seriously, this is embarrassing for her.
You agreed to do
With
this?
Alex Cooper, right?
Yes, this is why you agreed to do this podcast.
Go for it.
I'm curious, like, you don't do too many long form interviews. What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you.
Well, first of all, look at this. Are you looking at this? Look at this. A girl in a sweatshirt with some kind of who talks about like the most disgusting things ever known to man. And the only reason why Kamala Harris is sitting across from her is to validify or validate whatever the abortion position that she has. Pro-abortion, 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 pro-abortion. Okay? Yeah. Let's get them.
Made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real. You know, and to talk about the things that people really care about. I mean, what I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community, that they're not out there alone.
Did you see her on
Well, I mean, getting real is
Oh my God. I can't believe what she just said. This is a former DA, a vice president, sitting vice president, talking about the importance of Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy is a sex podcast. What is she gonna do next? Show up to the Javits Center at the Corn Convention and do a speech there and hand out corn awards to the sex workers, okay? To the adult film stars? What is this? How does this podcast affect middle America? And people putting food on their table and job security and finances and the stock market and a recession that could be coming and the wars going on. This is what's most important to American people? Call her daddy? Not the wars that we're in or where our tax money is being spent? Is this woman high?
Alone?
Did you see her on
well, I mean, getting real is important. What you really didn't do at the border, what you really did with Willie Brown, what you're really talking about here, how you're
Can you
really
go to the
flip-flopping
last
to look
clip?
like Trump.
Rob, go to
We
the
can
last
talk about
clip
real.
of economy. Go to the last clip.
That Willie Brown comment was funny.
The last clip with economy, and then we'll move on to the next topic with Musk and Tucker.
My plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest of us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax.
Unions, teachers union, most powerful union we have. Yeah. What's Tim Walz? A member of the teachers union.
Tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to...
That's good. We're dealing with the real world here. You know, he's so composed. I'll give it. This guy's good.
Fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
talk to people?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about.
Why are you talking quietly to anybody in Congress? Why is anything a secret in Congress? Elite.
I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
She talks quietly to people in Congress, not out loud, quietly. By the way, she was on Stephen Colbert as well, Pat. You want to talk about cringe? Because she's doing those rounds, like he said. Call her daddy, Stephen Colbert. I sent it. Have you seen this? This is just brace yourself for the level of cringe Just and listen to him. Obviously, he's a leftist shill, but check this one out, Pat.
What is it that is, to coin a phrase, great about America and that kindles your love for it?
He used Kindle.
There's so much. There's so much. And you're right. And I have the blessing and privilege of traveling all over our country. And in particular, in these years where we have witnessed so-called leaders attempting to create division between us, I meet people who are just the people who are the ones who are the most optimistic.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, the point is, but when he...
What the heck is she talking about? I mean, every time this woman speaks, it's like none of it makes any sense. None of it.
I mean, the point is, but when you go back to the economy point, when he's asking her about economy, how are you going to get it done? Like, this isn't lip service. How are you going to get it done? And she does not have an answer.
No, she said she's going to just take billionaires and millionaires and just tax the hell out of them.
Right.
That's what's your goal.
Tom, any final thoughts on this before we move on?
Yeah, I do. And I would like to go back to CBS for a second. CBS is sitting number 3 in the ratings. On an average night, ABC gets almost 8 million viewers, NBC 6, and CBS barely 4.2. So they're literally in third place. And they took it in the chops after Margaret Brennan looked so terrible and Norah O'Donnell, who is the lead host of the debate, looked less than terrible, but still really bad. CBS took a lot of heat for that. And at the end of the day, CBS also needs to think about CBS. They're running a business. And I think, and 60 Minutes, CBS, I think they came out on this, and Bill Whitaker, and they're trying to show journalistic integrity. And I think that's what they were trying to do. And now they all have a relapse tomorrow morning and they get back to cheering for one side. But I was thinking about this a little bit more strategically and thinking about just CBS and as a business, Pat, and thinking this is where CBS has to come back up and say, man, we got to show America that they should be watching us because they're not getting viewers.
So
Ratings. He's so spot on. Spot on. It's all about the ratings. It's all about the ratings. That's what we have to understand as citizens, you and I, that all news now, okay, it's all about ratings. That's all they care about. There's way too much competition, especially when people would rather get their news from Tim Pool and Candace Owens and the Daily Wire and whoever else, okay? People don't even trust mainstream media anymore. They don't trust them for their movies. They don't trust them for their Disney stuff. They don't trust them for their news. And they sure as heck don't trust them to tell us who to vote for. What we are witnessing here is all about the media, mainstream media, trying to hold on for dear life to the money that they are making with advertisers so that they can keep the advertisers in place. And without ratings, my dear, you don't have advertisers. Advertisers are moving to YouTubers and other places because guess what? Nobody's really watching anymore. Nobody's really watching anymore. It's going to be a very interesting next 3 weeks. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. I find this very interesting, the Patrick Bet-David show. I'm going to have to do more reactions to him and his crew here. I'm DiBRAVA. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.